Let's get started, guys. So, I wanted to do this training because I used to do this every Sunday, where I did a training that I called the Sunday How To, and it goes back many, many years, even before I was involved with Cuvera, when I was actually working with the radio stations, and Cello worked with me on the radio station. I used to do training then on a Sunday that I called the Sunday How To. And I was told last year that we had too many different training events going on, and that it was just too much for people. But I just disagree. I think we have to get some fundamentals down to people. So, Ty, can you mute yourself a little bit, because we can hear your telly? So, so what I want to do with this, and wherever possible on these calls, I want to try and keep phone lines open, because I want you to be able to ask questions. This isn't a business opportunity meeting. This is training, and the best way people learn is when you have a question and you can ask your question. So if you've got something, ask it. But I want to start off with a basic premise here, and I want to talk about what we're doing and what we can do to improve it. See, this is network marketing as we know it. Whenever anyone comes into network marketing, this is the first thing we're told. Make a list, invite them to a Zoom, do a home meeting, talk to everyone you come in contact with, and you will recruit. And that's the way that network marketing has been done for time immemorial. Goes back, pushing on for 100 years now. But more recently for me, when I came into this industry nearly 30 years ago, that's exactly what I was told. And that's what I told my team, and that's how I built my first teams years and years and years ago. But there's a problem with it. And the problem these days is that times have changed. When I go back 30 years ago, the notions of communication, we literally had to go and talk to people face to face, because 30 years ago, I remember going to meetings with Simon Brooks, and we'd drive to the Midlands to do meetings, and we'd stop in the motorway services and get a cup of tea on the way. And people would look at us because our phones would be ringing, and we were one of the rare few that had mobile phones back then. There was certainly no texting. Nobody had heard of the internet. Nobody had heard of email. You know, we didn't have the channels of communication that we have today. Today, things are completely different. We communicate so quickly in so many different ways, and network marketing isn't keeping up with it. And the biggest problem that we have right now with trying to do things the old way is that what we're doing doesn't build any trust with people. We're just talking to people in the first instance, to everyone we know, saying, just got started with this new business, I think it might be something you might be interested in, would you like to take a look at it? And there's no question of talking to them and asking them about anything that they're interested in. So the reality is that if you want someone to get involved with them, predominantly people will only buy from people that they know, they like, and they trust. And if you're a complete stranger, or if you're talking to someone who, let's say you make your list and you come with someone on your list and you haven't spoken to the last 5 years, then out of the blue you phone them up and say, you were the first person I thought of. Well, it just doesn't ring true, does it? So people are on the defensive straight away, and it puts their hackles up, and all of you guys have to battle trying to deal with this. We need to find a way of overcoming it. The reality of it is, very, very quickly, every single one of us manages to burn through all of our warm list in no time whatsoever. Now, when I got started with Cuvera, I took the old-fashioned approach. My first day, I sent 30-odd messages out to people that I knew, and over the space of, well, you know the story, I've got 12 people to join on my first day. Over the space of the next week, I probably contacted 200 people from my list, and I probably brought, in the space of my first 5 or 6 weeks, I brought 22 people into the business personally, frontline. Cello was one of those people on right at the very beginning. But the majority of them just wouldn't duplicate what I did. They couldn't go out and talk to people in the same way, and they burned through people very quickly because they didn't want to talk to their brother, sister, mother, father, auntie, uncle, best friends, whatever. And very quickly they ran short of people. So when you go to a meeting, you go to any public training, this is what everyone tells you about it. They tell you that this industry is just a numbers game, and don't quit because you just person away from a fortune. They tell you that you've got to spend most of your time prospecting, all of your success comes from recruiting, and you shouldn't reinvent the wheel, stick to the system and everything else. And there is some truth in every single one of those statements, but they're not 100% true, and they don't tell the whole story. The whole story is that the majority of the people that you're talking to, if you just walk in cold and offer them something that they weren't thinking of, they just see you as a salesman. And no one wants, an uninvited salesman is the last salesman anyone wants to talk to. When I first got started as a salesman, not in network marketing, as a salesman, my first job in sales was the toughest job in sales you could ever got. I sold life insurance door to door. I went out knocking on people's doors in the pouring rain, and when the people came to the door, I was basically going to talk about them dying. Nobody wanted to talk to me. But network marketing today can be a bit like that. If you just phone someone up out of the blue that you haven't spoken to for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and you start talking from scratch about this fantastic new business you just got involved with, the obvious questions all come to mind. Is it one of those pyramid deals? How much have you made from it? And the fact is you just got started, you haven't made anything, and all the questions that you can't answer. What I want us to talk about is look at a different approach to it. And it's an approach that works and has been working for a ton of other people. And this is going to make a world of difference to every single one of us. And it's creating a sales funnel and making a sales funnel that's going to work for you. Now, a sales funnel starts very simply enough. You just find prospects at the top and put prospects in. I put on that slide, find prospects by advertising. And I put by advertising for a reason. And the reason is, I think that you will have much, much more success trying to talk to people that you don't know than people that you do know. Now, advertising does not necessarily mean paid for advertising. It might mean paid for advertising, but it doesn't have to be that. But advertising can mean a bunch of different things. Advertising can mean placing posts in Facebook groups, placing posts on Instagram, Twitter, whatever. But you need to have the right kind of posts, because I've seen people putting posts up, and I have people sending me emails. I had someone send me an email this week for a post that he wanted to put up, and it gave a beautiful, rational argument as to why actually investing in your business and everything else was such a good idea. The reality of it, however, is that although this brilliant, rational, thought-out idea came out, he was talking to a bunch of people that the post was like 300-400 words long, and nobody was ever going to read it. Social media is about short, punchy, snappy, and you've got to get to it real quickly. So a sales funnel needs to be shorter and quicker than that. And what I want to do with these trainings over a period of weeks is go through every single step of this funnel. But right now I want to outline the whole funnel for you. So first stage is find prospects by advertising and put them into a funnel. Now, once you've found your prospects, well, in fact, let's decide exactly what you need. And the first thing that you need is you need to identify your ideal prospects. Because if we take the old-fashioned idea of just saying everybody is a prospect for this business, well, according to that, if you're on Facebook, you've got 2 billion prospects available to you. That should make you rich in a staggeringly short space of time. If 2 billion people want to join your business. Truth is, they don't. 2 billion people don't trust us, don't like us, don't know who we are, don't care one way or another. We need to find someone who's ideal. In my mind, the best prospect that we're going to find for our business is people who are either involved in network marketing right now or have been involved in network marketing in the past. Two reasons for it. First of all, they've already shown that they have some sort of entrepreneurial spirit. If they've been involved with it in the past or they're involved with it right now, you're not going to get the pyramid deal objection. And if they're involved with it right now and they're looking with another company and they're involved in another company rather, but they're still looking for answers to a question, then they have a problem. And if you can answer the problem, then we've got a chance that we can turn them into a distributor for you. So right now, your ideal prospect, as far as I'm concerned, is people on social media who have some experience of network marketing. That gives us easy access to them, and we know that they're at least partway qualified. You need to create a lead magnet. Now, if you don't know what a lead magnet is, it's any mechanism, something that's essentially a free gift, and it's something that you can use to attract people to come to you. So rather than you reaching out on social media and through Facebook and saying, hi, just saw your profile and I just wondered if you'd be open to an opportunity, because the truth is they're not, yeah? But if you can put something up that has them come to you and say, you're advertising something that I think might help me with my business, can I please have it? Then you get interested people coming to you. And you know that they're people who are interested in building a business. You then need to create a capture page. A capture page is a really simple device. It simply says what you have to offer for them, and this is how you get it. Give me your name and give me your email address. Nice and simple, nothing clever about it at all. You need to send traffic to that funnel, and that comes from the advertising that we were just talking about, whether it be social media, whether it be paid for advertising. And I'm going to touch on both, because I'll tell you right now, in the coming weeks and months, I'm going to get really, really heavily into advertising this. But you've got to advertise it the right way. Facebook will not let you advertise network marketing, but Facebook will let you advertise a lead magnet that can be connected to it. So you've got to do it the right way. I'm going to make sure that I'm doing it the right way. And I'm not going to propose to any one of you that you do this until you've actually seen me do it and seen the results that I get. But watch the results and see what happens and see where it's going from. Once you've actually sent someone to a capture page and you've got the traffic there and they get your lead magnet from you, you need to offer them an upsell. The reason you want to offer them an upsell is because you want to build some trust. And in the first instance, you're going to give them something free. That develops a little bit of trust. If you can find something that has some extra value that can only cost a nominal amount of money, so it's an impulse purchase really for them, then we can get them used to the idea of actually buying something from you and you delivering it to them. There is some of the best minds that I know in direct marketing say that the best buyers are existing buyers. People who buy one thing from you are likely to buy another thing from you, and then another, and then another. So if we have an upsell, we have two benefits. First of all, we get them to actually start buying from us and trusting us with the money. The second thing that we get from it is we make a little bit of money out of everyone, even if they don't become a distributor. And if you make a little bit of money from them, that little bit of money can be used to pay for paid for advertising. So your advertising becomes self-funding. You don't have to dip your hand into your pocket yourself and pay for it. Once you've actually offered them the upsell, after that, you're now free to just start talking to these people and start that process of building some rapport with them. And we're going to talk about different ways of communicating with people, whether it be by email, whether it be by messenger. Ultimately, I always want to get people on the phone because that's where you'll build the most rapport with them. But we're going to go through all of that process as well. Now, I pulled a couple of advertisements off the internet just to show you what people are advertising as a way of getting other people across. And you can see every one of these adverts is all about something free that can help someone with their recruiting business for their network marketing business. All of them are things that will appear to network marketers. We're going to develop over the space of the coming weeks, all of you guys on here, I'll work with each of you and we'll develop our own magnet and our own adverts that are going to be beneficial for us with our Covera business, rather than one that's developing for other people. But I've actually created the very first lead magnet that I'm going to use, and that's this. It's an ebook that tells people how to use Facebook stories and Instagram stories. And you can see that this is my lead magnet, because you can see, if you look at the picture of the two phones that are on the screen there, and both of them have got my little Phoenix logo in the top left hand corner. So you know that that one's mine. Now, I'm going to actually put my name on the bottom of that as well for my own advertising. So whenever I place it anywhere, it will actually have my name on it. And the idea is that I want to sell myself as potentially being an expert to these people, so that they will come across to me to get more information from them. I then have already shown a capture page. You said you need a capture page. This is my capture page, and this is live right now on screen. Yeah. So this is on my website right now, rogergarth.uk. And if you go to it, if you go to where it says products, it drops down there. There's two menu choices there. One says advanced training. The other one says about hot new way of getting recruits right now. And that will take you to this page. And you can see that as a capture page, it's really, really simple for people. All I do is tell them what it is, what it does, show them a few little images of the reports that they're going to get, and give me your name and email address. Once we've done that, I'm just going to get into the conversation with them. And this is the route that this conversation is going to take. This template I'm going to take you through right now for the conversation that you're going to have was actually developed by a guy called Dan Kennedy, not by me. Dan Kennedy is known in the States, in the direct marketing world, as the millionaire maker. He's made more millionaires than just about anyone else in direct marketing worldwide, not network marketing, direct marketing. Yeah. This is an email autoresponder sequence, but we can use it in a number of different ways. So these basically are all based around sending emails back to people, but you could actually do this manually with a telephone call, or you could do this with Facebook messages, WhatsApp messages, or whatever. So the first message that when someone puts their email address into there, is they'll automatically get a message back that just says, "Hi, my name's Roger," and ask them to confirm that they actually sent that request out in the first instance. Two reasons. First and foremost, GDPR reasons, because these days you've got to be seen to be only using opt-in emails. But the second thing is it actually gives you a reason to start conversations with them and start talking to them. Then you're going to send them their free gift. When they get to the download page for their free gift, they get to download everything that they were asking for. Someone's sending me a message. No, it's proxy. So they get to download their free report, but on the same page where they get the free report, I offer them the upsell. And the upsell that I'm offering is something that's going to cost maybe sort of 10, 15 quid, no more than that. I said I want it to be an impulse purchase. If I offer something that costs £50, it's going to be too big. If it's somewhere between 10 and 15 pounds, most people spend that quite easily without thinking about it these days, particularly if all they have to do is just click a PayPal link or something like that. Once we've gone past that, I'm now going to get into the sales funnel itself. So right now, first step of the funnel was to find some prospects by advertising. We've sent them to the capture page. We've got that. Now I'm going to start to try the upsell and try to make a little bit of money from it. That little bit of money is just purely there to help fund further advertising for me and keep me advertising. Just as an aside, just to sort of tell you how effective this can be, when Simon Brooks and I were building our business with Lifestyles 28 years ago, the majority of the people that we recruited came from national newspaper advertising. Every Sunday, we put an advert in the Times, the Telegraph, the Daily Mail, We maybe do one on Monday as well, and Wednesday was also good. All of those ads would generally cost somewhere between £70 and £100 per ad. So we were spending maybe £500, £600, £700 a week in advertising. But although we were spending that much money in advertising, that particular company, to join that company, it was a physical product that we were selling. And if you wanted to come on board as a direct distributor, which would probably be equivalent to coming on board with 3 people right now as far as we're concerned, you can actually just buy stock and do that. And it costs you like £2,500. And massive numbers of people came on board buying £2,500 worth of stock in the first instance. But when they bought £2,500 worth of stock, Simon, myself, and anyone else who recruited someone at that level earned £350. So providing we could make a couple of sales a week, we could pay for our advertising, and we could keep on advertising. That's really what we're going to do, but on a different level. So once we've actually got back to them, given them the free gift and tried the upsell, the day after we're going to go back and start the conversation with them. And we're going to talk a little bit about how we can help them to grow their business. And we'll talk about their business, but we don't necessarily talk about their business in terms of the business that they're in right now, because ultimately we want to try and bring them across to ours. But as long as we're talking about their business, then we keep them interested. Make sure that you include a testimonial. If you've got a strong story that you can tell yourself, fabulous. If you don't have a strong story that you can tell yourself, then you can always use any other one of the testimonials. So use Brooks's testimonial, use Simon Kendrick's testimonial, use my own, use anyone that you know, yeah? But you can always turn around and say that I'm working with some people who are doing this, and you include testimonials with it. At that point, the idea is to try to get them engaged in a conversation. If you can get them engaged in a conversation on the telephone, that's the best way to do it. Providing they're receptive to the idea of building something, it shouldn't be that difficult to get them on board. And each of these messages that I'm talking about right now, we're going to script all these messages for you, and we're going to build these messages up over the space of the coming weeks with you. So you don't have to write these yourself. We're going to have a template that you can copy and paste, put them into an autoresponder or whatever, but the whole thing will be done for you to start the relationship. But as long as you're actually talking to people, you should be on a winner. Once you've actually started talking to them, it's going to take them to the third step in the funnel. Step 1 was finding the prospects. Step 2 was actually trying an upsell. And step 3 is getting people onto a Zoom and a 3-way call. Now, I said at the beginning of this that we're doing that right now. But what we're doing right now is we're going straight to step 3. We're not actually building any kind of rapport with people. We're not getting any people on our side. This way, we're actually going to try and make friends with people, find out what it is that they're looking for before we invite them to actually come on the 3-way call. Once they come on the 3-way call at that point, we've got more chance of getting them on at that point. And there's more chance of actually getting them to listen to the Zoom, then do a 3-way and recruit them into it. But the reality of it is, it's still only going to be a percentage that will do that. So if they don't respond on that first day, well, then don't worry about it, because the day after, we send them another message. And we tell them something that we haven't already told them about the business. You don't want to tell everything in one go, because you've got nowhere else to go. But if you tell them something else another day after, you've got a reason to contact them again, tell them something they haven't heard already, and then try and get that conversation started again, and do the best to find out what it is that's going to motivate them and what's going to get them to take any kind of action. And again, you go back to your funnel and try and bring them onto the 3-way call. If they still don't respond the day after that, then the way I have my system set up, and this is already in place right now for me, then my autoresponder will, by day 5, will send them an email that will just say, look, every day that you're thinking about this and not doing anything about it, it's costing you money. You're losing money. We heard last week on the Zooms that we did, we heard that Not this Friday gone, the previous Friday, Jonathan Rutherford joined us. Simon Kendrick recruited a guy called Jonathan Rutherford. He got started on Friday, and over the weekend he set up all of his broker accounts. By Tuesday, he started to place his first trades. On Wednesday, he made €304. And I asked him a question, how come euros? And for some reason or other, he said he thought it was easier to translate from dollars into euros than it was to translate into pounds. I don't know why he just didn't start trading pounds in the first instance, but that's down to him. But he made €304 on day one. On dates, he told us that story on the Wednesday of last week. On the Thursday call, he made another $200. On Friday, I was talking to him, he made another $200. Yeah, and all he's doing is trading using the trades that are coming through on the Telegram trades right now. And he's literally just copying and pasting the trades that are coming through. Now, if you want to do that, you can do that and you can have your own story to tell. If you don't want to do that yourself, if you don't have any funds to do that in the first instance or whatever, then you can use Jonathan's story. But the fact is that in this message, when you're sending people, you can tell them that every day is a delay that's costing them money, because Jonathan is making money every single day with this right now. The important thing is that these messages keep on going, because not everyone sees every message that they get through. I get so many emails on a daily basis that I actually saw one yesterday that actually I wanted to respond to, and I responded to it, but it was sent to me 3 days earlier and I hadn't seen it. So that's why these things come out repetitively, because they will still catch people. When they do catch people, as soon as you get a response, we're going to try and get them back into that funnel. Eventually, time comes when you know you're sort of flogging a dead horse with these people. So by the time it comes to day 6, if they still haven't responded, then I send them a message and I just say, I'm not going to keep pestering you forever. This isn't an ongoing series of messages that will never ever end. I'm going to stop shortly. And it works tremendously to do this. The reason it works so well, it's just like taking ice cream off a baby. You know, if you try to take something away from people, it's hugely, hugely powerful. It's something that's been known in sales for decades. You know, I even used to do it with selling cars. A fabulous way for me to sell cars 30 odd years ago was to give the customer the keys to a car and tell them to take it home to their house and try it out on the drive without me being there. They never wanted to bring it back once they'd actually got it on the drive. And I've actually followed people home to see what they do. And I've followed home and seen people take a car that was on a test drive, take it home, put it on the drive and start washing it, because there's a possession thing. If you then try to take that off them, it's just not happening. They bought that car in their head, that's their car. So this is the same kind of thing. If you turn around and say to them, look, I'm serious about this. We're 6 days in, you haven't responded to me. I'm not going to keep sending you messages. If you don't take action very, very soon, day will come out. If they still don't respond, the day after they get the message, and the message is, today is your last chance. After today, I am not going to write to you any longer. And at that point, I will then go back. I'll wish them good luck. I'll turn around and say good luck in whatever you're doing. Tell them they can stay in touch with me whenever they want, and I will still have a file shot at trying to upsell the paid for offer that I did at the beginning. 2 reasons. First of all, the upsell that I had is something that could help them with their existing business. And if it can help them, good news, because they still think I've done them a service. And from my point of view, I also still get a little bit of money to pay for my advertising to continue trying to find new people. So the funnel is really quite simple. It's not a huge variation on what we're doing, but it's something that's staggered over a period of time, and it can be kind of, well, it can be very automated if we take it to its nth degree. And ultimately, once you bring someone in, then all you're going to do is sponsor them and teach them to do the same thing. But the whole point of it is this. When we get people into this system, the first thing that we're going to do is drive traffic to a capture page, offer something valuable to them, offer an upsell, build some trust and rapport, and that's the key to it more than anything that we've done in the past. Rather than just dive in and say, do you want to buy, do you want to join, do you want this, do you want that? Build some trust and rapport. Get them to like you, get them to know you, get them to trust you, get them to join you. That's the simple way. At that point, you invite them to a call, then you can invite them to a three-way, and then you can close them. I've obviously done for, I don't know, 20 minutes, half an hour now, guys. Thoughts? Microphones are open. Thoughts from you. Does any of that make sense to you? Do you have any questions, any doubts?
Roger, yeah, that's familiar to me because a few years ago I had a personal development website and I had an autoresponder system.
Yep.
And I wrote a series of 52 emails. We started off, first week it was a daily email, and then it went on like once a week for the next 12 months. And I had I started off with a free report, which was the initial what was the word you used to get them to opt in.
Yep.
And then I had an upsell, which was an ebook I wrote, which I sold for £10, I think it was.
Yep.
And I was an affiliate at the time for various companies, selling training courses and books and audio programs. And the idea was I would contain links in my emails, different websites. If they bought that product, I'd get a commission. So that system I find worked well for me. I think it's a good system. And I was just wondering what would be the upsells that we could offer, like in terms of we could buy something for £10 or £15. What would we be able to offer that's relevant?
I'm working on something right now,
okay.
And I'm working on the Instagram product that we're giving away free of charge is something that I've wrote. It took me probably a month to write it. I'm working on something that is also Instagram related right now that will upsell. Now, the report that I send out has all of my links in the back of it. Okay, I will happily give each and every one of you guys the free report with a blank back page, so it doesn't have any of my contact details in, so that you can use it as a free magnet to bring people to your pages. If you want me to put details in, I'll put your details in. If I'm going to put your details in, I'm going to charge a nominal amount, and that's purely just for my time because I'm getting bombarded with amounts of things. But it will be at like £5 or something like that, because I'll do something quick, but I'll create something that will help you. As far as the upsell products is concerned, I'm trying to work on something right now, and I'm trying to find something, and I may have to invest a little bit of money in buying something, but I think it may well be that if I come up with an upsell product, then I might charge each person in the team, again, a nominal figure, but give them the resale rights to use it. So if they buy that system, that product from me, then you can then sell it and keep all of the profit from it yourself. So the first time you sell it, you actually get your money back, and this next person you sell it to is paying for your adverts. And that will give you an option to do something like that. Or alternatively, you've created something like that for yourself, Adrian, in the past. These are going to be network marketing focused ones. I don't know what your previous product was focused on.
Well, it was to do with personal development.
Yeah.
This would be something a bit different, but that sort of system does work. So.
Yeah, they do work. I actually did this going back 20 years ago when the internet was very, very new. And I was selling cars for a living for a Ford dealership in Bury. And I had an argument with my boss, as tends to happen in that industry one day. And I finally turned around and said, I'll tell you what, stuff it. And I walked away. And that was the time, that was the last job that I ever had, working for someone else. And I went home, built a website, and wrote a book. And the book was called How to Finance Your Next Car and Why You Should. Now, when I sold cars, I was the finance specialist. So I was the guy who knew how to get the best interest rates, what type of finance was the best one and what would work. So this book told everyone what was the best way to finance the car. And if you're a businessman, well, even if you weren't a businessman, it would tell you why it was a good idea to use car finance, because there's a number of good reasons why you should do. And people did the same thing, filled the details in, sent me that book, and then I used it. In my first year, 20 years ago, just doing exactly that, I went from earning £35,000 a year as a car sales manager in a main dealership to earning 80 grand a year working for myself. And after 5 years of earning between 80 and 100 grand a year for the next 5 years, my wife and I went on holiday to Crete, came back. My wife said, I want to go and live there. And we came back, sold the business for $750,000 nearly, sold the house, sold everything else, and we went and retired at 49 years of age. I retired. Now I came back because my wife passed away, so I'm back and doing something else again. But the fact is, this is something I know incredibly well. And I will tell you that I'm working on a way to automate this right now with Simon Brooks. You've heard Simon hint already about ways of automating it. We're working on something right now to take an awful lot of this and do something even more powerful than email, because we're working on a way of linking this directly into Messenger. And it will be something that will work with Facebook remarkably well, but it will still take another 4 to 6 weeks right now before that's ready. And once it's ready, we then have to test it ourselves, because we're not going to offer it to anyone at all until we've tested it and we know that the system works. And we can do it at a training session where we turn around and say, if there's someone in the room who's been recruited using this method, stand up and we can have proof for you that this system works. So we're not going to do that at that point in time. But right now, for you guys, all I'm bothered about is trying to get, for each of you guys who haven't got your first 3 yet, I need to get you to your first 3. It's hugely important. Right now, you're paying for a service. We need to get that service free of charge for you. Because if you then just take that $200 a month that you're paying for the service, and if you put the $200 a month into the trades that are happening on
Telegram,
thank you, Cynthia, on Telegram, then you can make something quicker and simply with that. If you put it into the trades that we're doing with Corey, if you were at Manchester for the last training, you'd have saw me going through £200 a month put into Corey's trades, and I show people how £200 a month compounded in crypto trades using just 10% of what Corey's actually been doing historically. I showed that turning into something like, what was the number, Cello? Was it
7 million in five years?
That was the number. That was the number for 200 a month compounded, and that 200 a month is what you're currently paying to Covera to get your alerts. You can have that 200 back. We've just got to find the 3 people for you. So it really is important that we get each one of you to this, because it gives you more credibility as you're talking to more people. It's going to help as far as that's concerned. And apart from anything else, if we can find your first 3 people, you now have a system that you can teach them. One of the things that I think is hugely interesting when Joe Martinez has been across with these last couple of times is that Joe turns around and tells us that it's not all about going out and recruits. Now, Simon Brooks has been a friend of mine for 28 years. I love him to bits. He is a recruiting machine. He's one of the finest recruiters I know. But he doesn't have a lot of patience for people that don't see things his way. Well, not everyone does see things his way. But Simon recruits hundreds and hundreds of people every single year. And Joe Martinez said he's recruited 7 people in the last 4 years. And he's got, I think he's approaching 10,000 people in his team right now, because he works with these people. That's what I want us to do right now. I want to show you how to build that team and work with you to build that team. I've been doing this for a year. In the space of a year, I've got distributors. My very first bunch of distributors, my first 15 distributors were all in the USA. I've got distributors in the States. I've got distributors all over Europe. I've got distributors in Africa. I've got distributors in India. I've got distributors in Australia. They're going all over the place. Don't have a huge core here in the UK. What I'd like to be able to do is work with each of you and build up that team here in the UK, as well as finding more people for myself here in the UK and take everyone on that same journey. But it's the idea is going to be right now for these Sundays. What I want to do is put these trainings together and give you something useful every step of the way. So next week, what I want to talk about is I want to do a session that purely talks about how you write posts for Facebook, how you write posts for Instagram, but short, catchy posts that will get people to respond and will start to build your team. I started going on Instagram probably just before Christmas, and as an old man, it's sort of, I don't understand any of this stuff really. It's like, I don't see what people get out of it in their personal life when they sit there and stick stupid pictures on. From a business point of view, I think it's a fabulous tool. So I went on Instagram just before Christmas and I got my first 100 followers relatively quickly. The next 100 took me ages to get the next 100. So to get to 200 seemed to really drag. Yeah. The next 2,000 came really quickly. So now I've got nearly 2,500 followers on Instagram. I put a post up on Instagram and the reaction that I'm getting comes back thick and fast. I have to actually turn the sound off because I get fed up with the beeping on my phone. Yeah. I want to show you how you get those short, snappy things just to get people contacting you. What you do get is you get a huge number of people trying to sell you things, trying to pitch you on their business and everything else. Got to get past that one. Yeah. But you also get people asking you about your business. So I'm going to tell you how next week I'm going to talk about how you actually write these things. And in my time in sales over the years, when I decided to start my own business selling cars and vans, I had to learn some new skills. I've been a salesman for many, many years, but I've never done the marketing side of it. I'd done network marketing, but I'd never done direct marketing. I had to become an expert at writing my own advertising copy. And I actually ended up changing my business when my wife and I retired to Crete. I just became a semi-retired copywriter, writing advertising for other people, and I still got paid a sort of a comfortable 40, 50 grand a year writing advertising copy for other people. So I know what I'm talking about. I'll put these things together with you and I'll take you through these and I'll lead you through some of the best advertising copy that I can get my hands on to help you put together ads that are going to work for you, posts that can get reactions, stuff that you can put on Facebook, stuff you can put on LinkedIn, stuff you can put on Instagram, anything that's going to get a reaction and get people talking to you. That's what it's going to be next week. If there's anything that you want me specifically to talk about, then shoot questions across and ask me. Anything we need to cover right now?
No.
Okay. Right, well, guys, small group. This was the first time, and it was an idea yesterday.
Thanks, Roger.
In with it. You're welcome, Simon. This was, as I said, this was an idea yesterday. I hope you found some value with this, and I hope to make these get more exciting and more informative for you, and that you come away with very real skills that will help you every step along the way. But you all know that if you need me anytime whatsoever, you know where I am. I'll do anything I can to help you guys. All right?
Yeah.
So thanks for your time, and we will speak to you during the week. So see you all.
Thanks, Roger.
Thanks, Roger.
Thanks,
Bye.
Roger.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks.
Let's stop that. Bye.